And now it's my honour to invite Kim and Leigh to the stage to formally open the conference.
Ministers, High Commissioners, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and VIPs. There's a lot of people involved in coming together to celebrate youth work in 2023 here in Reading in the UK. And welcome from us, the host agency. It is an absolute privilege to have you all here. There's around 1,000 colleagues joining us online over the next 3 days and around 250 of us in person. I've declared this the largest sort of youth work conference that's going on today, because I'm not sure there's any others in the world. So on that basis, you're in a very privileged place and space. A few things I need to say thank you to. So it's a huge effort to put this together, and it's not exactly cheap either. So we're very grateful to the support of the Department for Culture, Media and Sport here in the UK and to the Commonwealth Secretariat, who collectively alongside us have been able to fund this event and enable us to come together. It is no mean feat bringing over 100 delegates from across the globe to here to join together to celebrate, to share that dialogue, and so thank you to everybody who's made that possible. I also wanted to recognise that the National Youth Agency is the national body for youth work here in England, but no, too far. There we go. We've organised this conference with a lot of support from our national colleagues from England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. And so just a thanks to those colleagues who are in the room, from the governments, from the agencies, from the partners who work with us locally and domestically, year in, year out to strengthen youth work across the United Kingdom. We're really grateful for your support and thank you so much. Youth work is a global family, is how I phrase this. I've had the privilege of going, around Europe and around different parts of the world, and whenever I go on holiday, I'll always try and find a local youth project or a local youth centre and pop my head in and go, "Hi, I'm the strange one from England. I'm interested in what you're doing." And it's all, youth workers are always happy to sit and talk to you and explain what they're up to and the difference they're making to young people. Youth work is a really, really special, privileged profession. It is the only profession in which we support young people from their starting point rather than somebody else's starting point half the time. So, young people choose to engage with you as youth workers, and because of that, they want, they want the best from you, and you give the best to them every time. And it doesn't matter, I think, where you are in the world, young people are in need, young people have their challenges as we support them to transition from childhood to adulthood. There are practitioners, and practitioners today is an interesting word, because certainly in this country, that's a group of parents borrowing a village or community hall and running a fun leisure club, right the way through to some of the most advanced youth work I've ever seen, tackling knife crime, serious youth violence, abuse and trauma of the most vulnerable young people in society. And it is our youth workers that make the biggest difference by a mile, and will be celebrated across the next few days. Global community, because over the next 3 days we've got 40-odd workshops and speakers all coming together to share a vast array of professional disciplines and practices and expertise, to celebrate and to share knowledge and to make connections and build friendships and to bring us together. The world is getting smaller, I guess, with digital and innovation and social media, etc. And YouTube alone is just all bringing everything to our door. But there's nothing that replaces physically being in the room, and whether that's you're in the room virtually or literally in the room with us here in Reading. And so, we are a global community, all championing youth work across the globe. Our vision as an organisation is that every young person who would benefit from it has access to really great youth work. And what we recognise is that young people need youth workers more than ever. And if you think in the Commonwealth, it's a huge percentage of young people are, 60%, isn't it? I think under 30. So there's a vast number of young people who need the support of trained youth workers with the support, with the expertise to enable them to achieve their full potential. And as an organisation, we exist to make sure that we get the biggest voice for that, and we enable that to happen. So thank you for coming to our front door, because it's phenomenal to have you here to celebrate that mission of ours to champion youth work and to make sure it can be the best it can be, wherever you are in the world. We believe in this, really, which is if you have really high quality skilled youth workers and they know how to deliver really great youth work, they'll make a massive difference for young people. And it is as simple as that. We've all got long theories of change and all sorts of ways we analyze it. But fundamentally, if you've got brilliant people who know how to connect with young people and make a real difference, then we'll achieve collectively great things. And that's fundamentally what gets us out of bed every day to make a difference. This year is the Year of Youth, and it was an absolute privilege for the Commonwealth to approach us to say, would we be able to host this event in their most prestigious year, 50 years of the youth programme. And that programme has achieved, if you just read and look into its history, what it's achieved around the world, how many young people it's inspired and empowered, how many workers we've trained and developed, and how with the likes of partners like KWER and others who are out there on the ground supporting associations and organisations around the globe to come together to strengthen youth work. It's just phenomenal. So it's an absolute privilege for us to be invited, and we're very grateful to the Commonwealth for doing so. Just one thing for us really, which is we titled this conference, the word is peace is in there, and we have one very special guest of the National Youth Agencies here, which is Elena from Ukraine. Elena looks, does a similar role to myself, but across Ukraine, and I know she's up there. It's an absolute delight to have Elena with us. Elena is talking later. I mean, she said to me She said to me earlier, I got 12 hours sleep last night. That's the first time I've had that level of sleep because of what's going on domestically. But so it's a privilege to have you, and thank you. But I wanted to recognise actually that as much as we focus on Ukraine a lot in Europe, because it's the war in Europe at the moment, there are something like 34 conflicts, and I looked this up yesterday, around the globe, and we don't focus on those quite so much, the issues in Sudan and other countries. And I just didn't want to, I recognise Ukraine's challenge, but I also want to recognise that there'll be youth workers on the ground in other countries supporting young people in times of crisis, and I think that's just important to acknowledge. So that's it from me, and I thank you for coming, and I thank you for joining us. We do have a video now from our minister, who unfortunately was unable to join us, but we will show you that video, and yeah, please enjoy.